Garlic has been called many things across cultures and times. Some see it as nothing more than a kitchen ingredient, while others regard it as one of the oldest natural protectors known to humanity. What fascinates me about garlic is not only its undeniable health benefits for the body, but also the symbolic and psychological weight it has carried for thousands of years. When you study human history, you begin to notice that societies often placed great value on foods that had both a physical and metaphysical function. Garlic stands at the center of this intersection. It heals the body, but at the same time, it has long been considered a barrier against darkness, malice, and forces we cannot fully see. Why is this so? The reason is simple. Garlic embodies the principle of purification. Its strong, penetrating nature does not allow corruption to remain. If you crush a clove of garlic, its essence spreads instantly, filling the air, overwhelming any weaker scent. In the same way, when consumed daily, it strengthens the system from within, building resilience against whatever seeks to destabilize you. In spiritual traditions, this became a metaphor. Evil cannot coexist with strength, with clarity, with purity. Garlic represented that refusal of corruption. Its intensity was believed to repel witches, dissolve curses, and banish ill will. But let us bring this down to the psychological dimension, because symbols only remain powerful if they can be embodied. Eating garlic daily is not just about the food itself. It is about choosing to fortify yourself against negativity. When you make garlic part of your life, you are engaging in a ritual of resilience. You are declaring that your energy will not be easily influenced, that you will not allow subtle poisons, whether physical toxins, destructive emotions, or hidden intentions from others, to accumulate within you. Garlic becomes a mirror for the attitude of clarity and strength that keeps darkness at bay. Consider how many of our struggles come not from visible battles, but from invisible influences. A harsh word from someone close to us that lingers in the mind like a curse. A toxic environment that slowly drains our vitality. A pattern of thought that weakens us from within. These are not witches in the literal sense, but they behave exactly like witchcraft. They infiltrate silently. They corrupt, and they make us feel less than we are. The garlic we eat daily becomes a way of reminding ourselves, I will not harbor what seeks to harm me. I will cleanse, I will strengthen, I will stand firm. On a deeper level, garlic also teaches us about embracing discomfort for the sake of truth. Many people dislike its strong taste, its lingering presence on the breath. Yet in that intensity lies the lesson. Strength is not always sweet. Protection is not always gentle. Sometimes, what guards us from harm is raw, sharp, and unyielding. To bring garlic into your body is to accept that shield, to welcome a force that does not compromise with what is destructive. The bitterness of its taste becomes a lesson in endurance. If you are willing to endure a little discomfort, you gain much greater protection. This is why ancient traditions did not merely speak of garlic as food, but as a weapon. It was hung on doors to ward off evil, carried in pockets as a charm, consumed daily to keep one's vitality untouched. Whether you believe in witches and curses literally, or you understand them as metaphors for negativity and harmful influence, the message remains the same. Garlic builds a wall of resilience around you. Its energy is not passive, it is active, forceful, demanding that whatever approaches you comes with clean intent. So when I say eat garlic daily, I am not giving you a superstition. I am giving you a philosophy of defense, a way to engage your body, your mind, and your spirit in the act of rejecting what does not belong. To eat garlic is to declare to the world, I will not be consumed by darkness. I will carry within me a shield that no curse can penetrate. And the reflection is this: strength does not always come in grand forms. Sometimes, it hides in the simplest of things. A small clove of garlic, humble and ordinary, can carry the power to push away everything that seeks to weaken you. The question is, will you ignore it as just food, or will you embrace it as your daily shield? The choice, as always, is yours. The onion is often overlooked because of its simplicity. It sits quietly in every kitchen, common and unassuming, yet its power has been recognized by ancient cultures across the world. Like garlic, the onion carries a reputation far beyond its nutritional value. For centuries it has been used not just as food but as a spiritual cleanser, an absorber of unseen forces, and a barrier against what people once called curses. When we peel back its layers, both physically and symbolically, the onion reveals lessons about life, resilience, and the way we deal with hidden negativity. One of the most striking things about an onion is that it has layers within layers. If you cut it open, you find another skin, then another, each one protecting the heart at the center. This structure itself mirrors the human condition. Each of us carries layers, our outer behavior, our spoken words, our guarded emotions, and deep beneath, the unspoken essence of who we are. Just as the onion shields its core, we too need shields around our inner being. Because whether we realize it or not, life constantly throws influences at us. Some of them nurture us, while others try to penetrate and corrupt us. Throughout history, people placed onions in homes to draw out sickness, to absorb harmful energies, and to protect the inhabitants from witchcraft. Even today, some traditions use onions to capture negativity, believing that the vegetable naturally pulls unseen toxins into itself. This may sound mystical, but at its root is a psychological truth. The onion symbolizes the principle of absorption. It teaches us that one way to deal with poison is not to fight it directly, but to let it be drawn out, neutralized, and discarded. That is why it has been regarded as a breaker of curses, because it interrupts the chain of influence by pulling the harmful energy away from the victim. When eaten daily, the onion serves a dual function. Physically, it strengthens the body, supports immunity, and purifies the blood. Spiritually, it becomes a statement: I am willing to face what is hidden. You see, onions make us cry when we cut them. This is not accidental, it is symbolic. The onion forces us to release. It does not allow us to remain untouched. And this is exactly what happens when we confront the hidden curses in our lives. The toxic patterns, the poisonous words, the silent resentments. We cry, we release, we purge. In this way, the onion teaches us that breaking curses is not always a clean, effortless process. Sometimes it stings, sometimes it burns, but through that release, we find freedom. If we think of curses in modern terms, they are often the subtle voices that tell us we are not enough, the energies that drag us back into old habits, the unseen pressures that drain our spirit. They are invisible, but their weight is real. Eating an onion daily can become more than a dietary choice. It becomes a reminder that you are actively cleansing yourself, layer by layer, from the grip of such influences. You are refusing to let these hidden forces sit in your system. You are inviting them out, even if the process is uncomfortable, because you value the clarity that comes afterward. There is also a lesson of humility in the onion. Unlike fruits that display bright colors or exotic foods that demand attention, the onion hides underground, growing silently in darkness. Its strength lies not in appearance but in essence. In the same way, true protection, true curse breaking often happens in silence. It is not about shouting that you are strong, but about quietly building a resilience so firm that nothing external can pierce your inner core. The onion reminds us that sometimes the most ordinary things carry the deepest strength. So when you eat an onion, you are not only nourishing your body, you are symbolically telling yourself, I am shedding layers of negativity, I am releasing hidden toxins, I am protecting the essence of who I am, and in doing so, you align yourself with a principle that makes witches flee and curses break, not because of superstition, but because you are no longer available for darkness to cling to. The reflection is simple: every layer you peel away brings you closer to the truth, and the truth is always stronger than the curse. The question is, will you continue to carry the weight of what is hidden, or will you allow yourself to release, cleanse, and step forward free? The choice, once again, rests entirely in your hands. Honey is unlike any other food. It is not manufactured, it is not artificially assembled. It is the direct result of nature's most delicate cooperation. The bee gathers nectar from countless flowers, processes it with precision, and stores it in a form so pure that it can last for centuries without spoiling. When you hold honey in your hands, you are holding condensed sunlight, transformed through the work of a living community into something that both nourishes and heals. That alone makes it remarkable. But throughout history, honey has been recognized for much more than taste or nutrition. It has been seen as a carrier of light, a sweet armor that shields the spirit from bitterness, darkness, and curse-like influences. Think about what bitterness does to the human soul. When someone curses you, whether literally with dark intentions or metaphorically through hateful words, they plant bitterness into your life. They want you to feel heavy, resentful, poisoned from within. Honey, by its very nature, stands in direct opposition to this. It dissolves bitterness, softens the heart, and introduces sweetness where life feels sharp and harsh. That is why many traditions considered honey sacred, a divine gift. It was used in rituals not just as an offering to higher powers, but as a way of sealing protection. To consume honey daily is to remind yourself that sweetness is stronger than venom, that light is stronger than shadow. The psychology here is profound. When you introduce honey into your body, you are not only receiving its nutrients, you are symbolically teaching yourself to respond to negativity with lightness instead of heaviness. You are programming your system to hold on to sweetness, to carry inner warmth, even when surrounded by forces that would prefer to see you broken or bitter. And what happens when you embody sweetness? Darkness cannot stay. Those who carry curses, envy, or malice cannot hold their ground against someone who radiates genuine light. Honey becomes more than food, it becomes a shield. But there is another dimension to honey: patience. Honey does not appear overnight. It requires a long process, countless small efforts by bees working in unity, each contributing a fragment until the hive produces abundance. In the same way, sweetness of character, inner light, and resilience against curses are not built in a day. They come through consistent practice, through daily choices. Eating honey daily is a reminder of this principle. Protect yourself not through sudden bursts of effort, but through steady, patient accumulation of light within. Every spoonful is a step toward making your being inhospitable to darkness. There is also humility in honey's nature. It does not boast of itself. It does not shout for recognition. It simply exists as one of nature's quiet miracles. This humility is itself a form of armor. Witches, curses, and negative forces often target pride, arrogance, and insecurity because those qualities are easy to exploit. But humility, combined with inner sweetness, creates a field of protection that is very difficult to penetrate. When you cultivate this through honey, not just eating it, but embodying what it represents, you move through life in a way that leaves no space for curses to attach. So honey is not only sweetness on the tongue, it is sweetness in the soul. It reminds us that protection is not always about fighting back. Sometimes, the most powerful shield is simply to radiate such goodness, such clarity, such warmth that the darkness has no entry point. To eat honey is to affirm that you choose sweetness over bitterness, patience over haste, humility over pride, and in doing so you place yourself beyond the reach of the forces that thrive on anger, envy, and negativity. The reflection is simple: light always dissolves darkness, just as sweetness always softens bitterness. The question is, will you allow yourself to carry that light daily, or will you let the poison of negativity take root? Honey teaches us that even the smallest dose of sweetness, taken consistently, can transform the entire system. The choice, as always, belongs to you. Dates are often called the fruit of the desert, but their significance goes far beyond survival in harsh conditions. For thousands of years, they have been revered as food for both body and spirit. In many cultures, dates are associated with vitality, with blessing, with renewal. They are not only a source of energy, they are a symbol of spiritual strength. To understand why this humble fruit has been seen as a breaker of weakness and a restorer of resilience, we need to look beyond its sweetness and consider what it represents in the deeper human journey. The first thing to notice about dates is where they grow. The date palm thrives in environments that most plants cannot survive. Under the relentless heat of the desert sun, in soil that offers little comfort, the tree still rises tall, bearing fruit that is nourishing, rich, and full of life. This resilience is the first lesson of dates. Strength is not about being protected from difficulty, but about drawing power even in the harshest conditions. When you eat dates daily, you bring this symbolism into yourself. You remind your body and your spirit that you too can thrive in environments that seem hostile, that you can carry vitality even when circumstances are designed to drain you. This is what makes dates powerful against curses and witchcraft. A curse, whether you interpret it literally or as the psychological weight of negativity, functions by weakening you. It drains your energy, saps your motivation, and leaves you feeling lifeless. The energy of the date does the exact opposite. It fills, it renews, it strengthens the aura. To eat dates is to reclaim what curses try to steal, your life force. You nourish not just the body with natural sugars and minerals, but the spirit with the memory that you are not meant to be weak. You are meant to be strong. Psychologically, dates speak to the principle of replenishment. So often we fight our battles while depleted. We try to resist negativity while running on empty. We hope to overcome obstacles while ignoring our inner exhaustion. But this makes us vulnerable. The date teaches a different wisdom. Before you face the world, replenish yourself. Before you try to resist the forces that want to break you, feed your spirit with strength. The desert traveler who carried dates knew this well. They did not walk into the endless sands without food that could sustain them. In the same way, we cannot walk into the deserts of daily life, stress, conflict, negativity, without carrying something within that sustains us. Dates become a reminder of this preparedness. There is also a sacred aspect to dates. In spiritual traditions, they are often eaten during times of prayer, fasting, or transition. Why? Because they bridge the physical and the spiritual. They nourish the body, yes, but they also remind the mind of its higher purpose. Eating a date becomes more than feeding hunger. It becomes an act of reconnecting to what is essential. This is why dates are tied so closely to breaking curses. A curse thrives on distraction, on pulling you away from your true center. A date draws you back to it. Think also of the shape of a date palm. It rises upward, straight and tall, with its fruits gathered near the crown, close to the sun. There is a message here about aspiration, about directing our lives upward, about remembering that strength comes not from collapsing into the ground, but from reaching higher. When you bring dates into your daily life, you are, in a small but real way, imitating that same pattern. Choosing growth, choosing strength, choosing light. So the wisdom of dates is this: do not allow curses to weaken your spirit. Feed your inner being with strength until you overflow with energy. When your aura is strong, when your life force is replenished, no darkness can drain you. Curses dissolve not because they disappear, but because they cannot cling to someone who is too full of vitality. The reflection is simple. Weakness invites darkness, but strength makes it flee. Dates remind us that spiritual strength is not optional, it is daily nourishment. The question is, will you walk into the desert of life empty, or will you carry within you the fruit that makes you untouchable? The choice remains yours. Salt is one of the simplest substances known to us, yet its influence on human history is extraordinary. Entire civilizations have risen and thrived because of it. Wars were fought over it, trade routes were built around it, and in many languages, the word salary itself is rooted in salt. It is no exaggeration to say that without salt, humanity as we know it could not have survived. But beyond its role in preserving food and balancing the body, salt has always carried a deeper meaning. It is the quiet destroyer of corruption, the silent purifier, the element that refuses to let decay spread. This is why across cultures it has been used to break curses, repel witchcraft, and dissolve the hidden forces that attempt to cling to the human spirit. What makes salt so fascinating is its dual nature. On the one hand, it is invisible. Once dissolved, it disappears into water or food, almost unnoticeable. On the other hand, its effect is undeniable. A pinch too much or too little changes everything. This quiet yet absolute influence mirrors the way spiritual protection often works. You don't need grand rituals or dramatic displays to protect yourself. Sometimes it is the smallest, most consistent practices, the salt in your daily diet, the salt at the threshold of your home, that dismantle negativity before it ever takes root. Salt teaches us that power does not always need to be seen. It only needs to be effective. From a psychological perspective, salt embodies the principle of boundaries. Just as it preserves food by preventing the invasion of bacteria, so too does it preserve the human spirit by refusing entry to destructive forces. When you consume salt daily, you can see it as a symbolic act of strengthening your own boundaries. You are reminding yourself, I will not allow corruption to spread within me. I will not allow hidden poisons, whether emotional, mental, or spiritual, to linger unchecked. Salt becomes the internal line that nothing impure can cross. This is crucial when we think about curses. A curse, in essence, is an intrusion. It seeks to enter your system, distort your energy, and break down your defenses. Salt, whether understood literally or symbolically, disrupts that intrusion. Its sharp, cleansing quality dissolves what does not belong and restores balance. That is why salt has been sprinkled in corners of homes, scattered around thresholds, and even carried in pockets for protection. It does not shout, it does not announce itself, but it works with quiet certainty. If garlic was the shield and onion the absorber, then salt is the destroyer, the element that does not simply repel darkness but dismantles it. This gives it a unique place among protective foods. It does not just protect your aura, it neutralizes what threatens it, and perhaps most importantly, it does so without fanfare. Salt teaches us that real strength often operates in silence. Just as you may not notice it in your food, you may not notice the subtle ways your resilience protects you day by day, but without it, everything would quickly collapse. There is also a lesson here about purity. Salt comes from the sea, from the earth, from sources that connect us to nature's essence. To bring salt into your body is to bring a reminder of that primal purity. And this purity is not weak, it is sharp, unyielding. When life becomes clouded with confusion, when curses in the form of negativity seem to wrap themselves around you, a return to purity is often the answer. Salt embodies that return. It is a call back to simplicity, to clarity, to a state where darkness has no foothold. So when you eat salt daily, do not take it for granted. See it as more than seasoning. See it as an act of fortification. A reminder that your spirit can be preserved against all forms of corruption. A reminder that you are not defenseless. that you carry within you the power to neutralize harm before it overtakes you. The reflection is this: sometimes the most ordinary elements hold the most extraordinary power. Salt may be silent, but it destroys what seeks to destroy you. The question is, will you overlook its quiet strength, or will you embrace it as part of your daily defense? The choice, as always, rests with you. Lemon is often associated with freshness, with clarity, with a sense of renewal. Its taste is sharp, its scent invigorating, and its effect unmistakable. You cut into a lemon, and immediately the air changes. There is no hiding its presence, it makes itself known. And this is precisely why, for centuries, it has been seen not only as food but as a purifier, a cleanser of both body and spirit. Where garlic shields, onion absorbs, honey sweetens, dates strengthen, and salt preserves, lemon cuts through. It slices directly into the heaviness of negativity, dissolving it at the root, leaving behind nothing but lightness. If we think about how curses and dark influences operate, they thrive on obscurity. They cloud the mind, they weigh down the heart, they create confusion. The person under such influence often feels dull, directionless, unable to see clearly. Lemon, both in its taste and its symbolism, does the exact opposite. It brings sharpness, brightness, and clarity. Eating lemon daily is like taking a blade of light and moving it through your inner being, cutting away what does not belong, dissolving the haze and restoring perspective. There is something profoundly psychological about this. Many of us live under invisible weights, not literal spells, but curses in the form of lingering negativity, unhealthy attachments, or self-destructive patterns. These influences accumulate slowly, and we become so accustomed to their presence that we forget what clarity feels like. Lemon shocks the system awake. Its soreness demands attention. Its freshness awakens the senses. This is why it is a fruit of purification. It refuses to let you remain numb. It brings you back into awareness, into presence, into a state where darkness can no longer hide. Another lesson of lemon is that purification is not always comfortable. Its taste is sharp, sometimes almost too much to bear. But in that sharpness lies its gift. Cleansing is rarely a gentle process. When you confront what has weighed you down, when you release what has poisoned your spirit, it often stings. Just as lemon stings a wound but prevents infection, so too does the process of purification sting the ego but save the soul. Eating lemon daily is not only about physical health, it is a ritual of acceptance. You are willing to endure temporary discomfort in order to remain free of corruption. Think also of the color of lemon, bright yellow, radiant, unmistakably tied to light itself. This is not accidental. Lemon carries the vibration of illumination. When darkness tries to attach itself to you, whether through envy, hatred, or hidden curses, what it fears most is light, and lemon embodies that principle. It brings light into the body, into the mind, into the spirit. It is a reminder that clarity is always possible, that renewal is never out of reach, and that darkness has no permanence when faced with genuine illumination. On a deeper level, lemon also teaches us the importance of simplicity. It is not a complex fruit. It does not boast many layers. It is straightforward, direct, cutting. Sometimes in life, this is exactly what we need. We try to solve problems with complicated strategies, but often the solution is a return to clarity, to simplicity, to cutting away what is unnecessary. Lemon embodies this wisdom. It asks you to stop tolerating what clouds you, to stop carrying what burdens you, and to return to the essential. So when you bring lemon into your daily life, see it as more than refreshment. See it as light entering your system, cleansing what is hidden, cutting away the unnecessary, and restoring clarity. It is not superstition to say that witches flee and curses break before lemon. It is recognition of a universal principle: darkness cannot coexist with light, and lemon carries light in its very essence. The reflection is this: life will always present you with shadows, with obscurities, with forces that seek to cloud your vision. But clarity is not given, it must be chosen. Lemon reminds us that purification is a daily act and light is a daily commitment. The question is, will you continue to live under the weight of what clouds you, or will you cut through it with clarity and step fully into the light? The choice, as always, is yours.